الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, today we stop with a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the treasures of the Sunnah. A hadith that was narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas. When he was 13 years old, the Prophet ﷺ put his hands on his shoulders and taught him these words. And the narration is in Musnad Ahmad, where the Prophet ﷺ told him, احفظ الله تجده تجاهك احفظ الله تجده أمامك تعرف إلى الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة واعلم أن ما أخطأك لم يكن ليصيبك وأن ما أصابك لم يكن ليخطئك واعلم أن النصر مع الصبر وأن الفرج مع الكرب وأن مع العسر يسرا. Prophet ﷺ put his hands on his shoulders and told him, be mindful of Allah and you will find Him in front of you. Know Allah at times of ease and He will know you at times of hardship and difficulty. And know that whatever happens to you and falls on you was never destined to miss you. And never know that whatever missed you and passed you by was never destined to happen to you. And know that victory comes with patience. And know that with affliction comes the relief. And know that with every hardship there is ease. And so we will stop with one sentence in this great hadith. تعرف إلى الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة. Know Allah at times of hardship, and He will know you. Know Allah at times of ease, and He will know you at times of difficulty. Be with Allah at times of prosperity, and He will save you during times of hardship. And this, brothers and sisters, is what our khutbah will be about. Know Allah at times of ease. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth multiple examples where people turn to Allah when the going is rough, when things are difficult. And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, قُلْ أَرَأَيْتَكُمْ إِنْ أَتَاكُمْ عَذَابُ اللَّهِ أَوْ أَتَتْكُمُ السَّاعَةُ أَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ تَدْعُونَ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Do you not see yourself? Tell them, O Muhammad, do you not see yourself if the hour comes or if Allah's punishment falls upon you? Do you turn to anybody other than Allah to save you if you are indeed truthful? بل إياه تدعون فيكشف ما تدعون إليه إن شاء وتنسون ما تشركون. Indeed, it is Him alone that you turn to during these times, and He will relieve from you, and He will lift from you whatever has fallen upon you, and you will forget everything that you associate with Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will a lot of times destine hardship upon people so that they may return to Him, so that they may come close to Him and make dua to Him. As Allah mentions, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. And we sent to a lot of people messengers before you. Nations received messengers. And we had hardship, and we destined for them difficulty. And they lost their wealth. They lost a lot of health. They were in hardship and difficulty, so that they may turn back to us and make dua to us and come close to us. And so a lot of us will read these ayat without stopping to think that this is really the wisdom behind affliction with hardship. And in another ayah where Allah mentions, وَإِذَا غَشِيَهُمْ مَوْجٌ كَالظُّلَلِ دَعَوُا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ فَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ وَمَا يَجْحَدُ بِآيَاتِنَا إِلَّا كُلُّ خَتَّارٍ كَفُورٍ. And as people ride the ocean and are on a ship, and the waves start to build up, and the waves are now as high as mountains, and the ship is moving as if it's about to drown, and the people think that they will die, people think that they will drown with this ship. دَعَوُا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They will start making dua to Allah with sincerity, Him alone. لَإِنْ أَنْجَيْتَنَا مِنْ هَذِهِ لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. They ask Allah, if you save us from this, then we will become among the righteous. We will live a life of virtue. فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ فَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves them and delivers them to the land, they start compromising in their religion. They start deviating. They start looking right and left. وَمَا يَجْحَدُ بِآيَاتِنَا إِلَّا كُلُّ خَتَّارٍ كَفُورٍ. And nobody disbelieves in our ayat, in our verses, except he who is treacherous and ungrateful. And so we've all been through hardships in our lives, and we all remember them very well. Whether there was financial difficulty, or where there was health issues and health problems, and there was problems with families, with our homes, and how at that time we were so close to Allah. We made dua night and day for Allah to lift these afflictions. How then, brothers and sisters, do we turn back after this? Why then do we forget after Allah lifts from us these hardships? Let us remember these golden words. تعرف إلى الله في الرخاء يعرفك في الشدة. Know Allah at times of ease, so that He knows you at times of hardship. The Prophet ﷺ said, من سره أن يستجيب الله له دعاءه في الشدة فليكثر من الدعاء في الرخاء. If you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if it pleases you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts your dua during times of hardship, then keep making dua and increase your dua at times of ease. And I will share with you this story from the Sunnah, which highlights this. And the story we may have all heard of, but let us stop and think about it again today. This is narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhuma, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there were three people that were walking on a journey, and it started raining, and it became nighttime. So they took shelter in a cave in a mountain. And then a boulder, a huge rock, fell, was displaced, and blocked the entrance of the cave. And they found themselves trapped in this cave. They felt they were going to die. And they said to each other, nothing will save you today from this except if you make dua to Allah by the best of your deeds. And so the first one said, "O Allah, I had two old parents, and these parents of mine, I did not give precedence to anybody over. They were my priority in my life. Neither my wealth nor my family would take priority over my parents. And I used to graze animals and go out with my cattle. And at the end of the day, I would milk the cattle and bring back a bowl of milk to my parents to drink. And they would be the first ones to drink before anybody else in the family. And so one day I was late, and I grazed, and then I came back, and it was nighttime, and my parents had slept. And so I did not want to wake them up. But at the same time, I did not want anybody to drink before them. So I held the bowl of milk in my hand, with my kids, with my youngsters coming at my legs and crying. They're hungry, they want to drink. But I will not feed anybody before my parents. And so I waited with that bowl in my hand all night until sunrise, until it was dawn, until my parents woke up, and I gave them to drink, and they had their fill. O Allah, if I did this for your sake, then O Allah, remove this rock so that we may walk out of this cave. And so the rock, the boulder, moved slightly, a little bit, but it was still not enough for them to walk out of the cave. The second man said, O Allah, you know that I had a cousin that I loved more than any man could love a woman. And I've always invited this cousin, and she would refrain, she would refuse to accept my invitation. Until one year, an affliction came upon her, a financial hardship, and she needed money. And she came to me asking for a loan, asking for money. And I told her I would give you the money on one condition, that you would accept my invitation, that you would come to my home. And so she was forced to accept. And she accepted his invitation by coercion, by him forcing her. And then he said, when I had power over her, I came close to her. And she said to me, Ittaqillah, fear Allah. For what you desire cannot be fulfilled without rightful marriage. And so I stepped back. And I left her, even though I loved her more than I loved anybody. And I gave her the money that she asked for. Oh Allah, if I had done this for your sake, then relieve this rock, move this rock, so that we may walk out of this cave. And so the rock moved slightly, but they were still not able to get out of the cave. And so the third man said, "Oh Allah, I had employees, I had workers that were working for me. And these workers, I gave every one of them their money, their payment, after they finished their work. Except for one who had left and not taken his money. And from this money that I owed this worker, I kept it and I invested it. And from it, I now have cattle, I had herds of cattle, camels, and sheep. I even had a shepherd from this small amount of money that was left behind from this worker. And then one day this worker came back to me and told me, "O servant of Allah, I want my money that you owe me." And so I told him, "Look at all these herds, and even the shepherd, look at all this. This is yours. This is from the money that I invested, that you left. Take it all." And so he told me, "Are you making fun of me, O servant of Allah? Are you joking?" And so I said, "No, I'm not making fun of you. This is all from the money that you left behind. Take it all." And so the man took it all and left nothing. And he said, "Oh Allah, if I had done this for your sake, purely for your sake, in sincerity, then move this boulder out of the cave so that we may get out." And so Allah moved the boulder slightly further, and the three of them walked out of the cave. Let us think about our credit with Allah. What have we done to bring us closer to Allah at times of ease? What do we have to rest on? So that when it comes times of hardship, we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and rest upon our good deeds. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده تعالى ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Brothers and sisters, in the hadith that is Qudsi, that is narrated by the Prophet ﷺ, that he said, that Allah says, وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُهُ إِلَيْهِ وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. This is what it means to be close to Allah at times of ease. To keep coming close by doing the extra nawafil, the extra prayers, the extra charity, the extra deeds beyond what is obliged upon us. وَلَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. And my servant will keep coming close to me by nawafil until I love him. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتُهُ كُنْتُ سَمْعَهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِهِ. And when I love him, I will be his sense of hearing that he hears with, and his sense of eyesight and vision that he sees with, and his hands that he grips with, and his feet that he walks with, and his legs that he walks with. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلَنِي لَأُعْطِيَنِي. And if he asks me, I will grant him what he asks. وَلَئِنْ اسْتَعَاذَنِي لَأُعِيذَنِّ. And if he seeks refuge and seeks protection in me, I will protect him. And as one of our predecessors says, if Allah is with you, then who do you fear? And if Allah is against you, then who do you have hope in? It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have hope in our life and on our deathbed. And if we live by La ilaha illallah, we will be given this word on our deathbed. We will be given this word at the hardest time in our lives, when we leave it. نسأل الله أن لا يتوفنا إلا وهو راض عنا أن يجعل آخر كلامنا من الدنيا لا إله إلا الله. هذا وصلوا وسلموا على من أمرتم بالصلاة والسلام عليه. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم يا ربي اجعلنا من الشاكرين، اجعلنا من الصابرين. اللهم ارزقنا الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. اللهم ارزقنا الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل، وباعد بيننا وبين النار وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. اللهم لا تتوفنا إلا وأنت راض عنا، اللهم لا تتوفنا إلا وأنت راض عنا. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا، وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان، واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين، واعل بفضلك كلمتي الحق والدين. اللهم دافع عن إخواننا المستضعفين. اللهم يا رب أحسن خواتمتنا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.